Good evening, and welcome to CNBS News Central. I'm Lyle Hope.
And I'm Melanie Sadler. Tonight, bookmakers in London take bets on the upcoming presidential visit to the UK.
And we follow a story of an unlucky couple whose lawsuit was denied in court today.
But first, we go to New York City, where subway service has always been a contentious topic for most locals for years.
But as Jonathan Weeks reports, residents of the Big Apple have been witnessing some very strange activity in the nation's largest transit network.
Poor service on the New York subway is hardly news. Unfortunately, commuters have no choice but to put up with it. Now it appears that some trains are nowhere to be found. The MTA regularly hears from passengers asking why their train is late. But last week, normal call volumes spiked with passengers claiming certain trains never arrived at all. New York City transit officials deny any trains are missing. MTA spokesman Roger Hoynes says there's nothing to worry about.
You know, this time of year, we get all sorts of calls just like this. Someone tweets out something that they may have overheard, and all of a sudden the phones light up. It's funny. I mean, really.
The New York Transit Riders Alliance thinks that they have the answer. The Alliance website claims that some trains have been running so far behind and for so long, they just never arrive. Ever.
I've heard those stories, and it's amusing. But no one I know takes these too seriously.
But a transit employee who spoke to CNBS News anonymously tells a different story.
We don't know what the is going on. I mean, 4 trains filled with passengers going in 4 separate directions. Gone! I mean, where the did they go?
Even police admit they've received a number of calls about missing persons, last seen boarding a subway train. But Mayor Bill de Blasio assures New Yorkers that the subways are safe.
6 million people ride the subway every day. We want that ride to be safe, and we want to keep making it safer.
Think about it. There's passengers on each one of these trains. They've got cell phones. I mean, wouldn't they be like circling Staten Island going, get me the off the train? But no, we don't hear nothing. We don't know where they went.
With operators threatening to walk out and management unwilling to fill in, employees tell me that fear has gripped the system. For now, 6 million commuters every day are left waiting on platforms around the Big Apple. Jonathan Weeks, CNBS News, New York.
Now, Jonathan, what's the average New Yorker telling you about this bizarre situation?
Well, they think... Shit! I missed my train!
Well, I'm sure there'll be another one along in a moment.
Maybe.
British bookmakers are scrambling to post odds on Donald Trump's pending visit to the United Kingdom.
The London bookmaker Tingleberries is attempting to set the odds of Donald Trump bowing to Queen Elizabeth when the Queen receives the American president. Edward Stafford of Tingleberries, known as Eddie the Shill, told CNBS London that the famed bookmakers are trying to decide what odds to offer.
Stafford did say the easiest odds to set were on a secondary wager that Donald Trump will insist his wife Melania curtsy to the Queen. The president said he'd have no issue with this since the First Lady is not a real American.
On the other hand, Trump himself has a questionable birth location. New York? New Jersey?
Eddie the Shill says even though Trump has never served in the military, Her Majesty can expect a snappy salute or two from the president.
He sure likes to salute.
He sure does. And while we're on the subject of England, our next report comes from our London bureau, where Anne Sylvester has a story about a rather sad situation for one couple.
And thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Melanie and Lyle. 67-year-old Mrs. Gillian Inger accompanied her 68-year-old husband Fred to Nottingham University's Queen Medical Centre for what should have been routine day surgery. Instead, the procedure has left Mr. Inger unable to have sex with his wife. Mr. and Mrs. Inger sued the hospital and the surgeon who performed the operation for the damage the procedure inflicted on the couple's relationship. However, after hearing only 2 witnesses, Judge Finchley summarily dismissed the Ingers' £100,000 suit without comment. We reached Mrs. Inger by phone, and she had this to say about the affair.
Me and me husband Fred, we always been a right randy pair, having non-stop banging sex and all. That's it. That is till we went to hospital and had his operation. Ever since then, we ain't shagged. Nah, not even once. And it's all down to them wanking twits at Queen's Hospital.
The surgeon who performed the operation, Dr. Ian Tamblyn Goggin, was a witness in court today and spoke to us from his office in Nottingham. Dr. Tamblyn Goggin, what went wrong with the surgery you performed on Mr. Ingus?
Not a thing at all. It was a complete success. All I did was remove Mr. Inger's cataracts, and he's experiencing perfect vision for the first time in decades.
The Ingers have no real grounds for appeal. However, Mrs. Ingers has started a GoFundMe page and has already raised £3.50.
A small consolation in an otherwise tragic story. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Lyle.
Yes, thank you, Anne. Oh, and put me down for a couple of shillings or something.
Pounds?
Sure.
Thank you, Melanie.
That's our report for now. Stay tuned to CNBS News Central for news as it happens. Good night.
Good night.